My name is Matthew Liebman, and I'm a staff attorney with the Animal Legal Defense Fund.
And so when you say staff attorney, what kinds of things do you do?
I work in the civil litigation program, so I handle all aspects of the cases that we bring against dog breeders, dog hoarders, people who otherwise abuse animals. We've done some horse starvation cases in North Carolina. We've done cases against factory farms. And I'm involved pretty much every level of those cases with a couple of other attorneys who supervise me.
And so why are you at the conference?
I'm at the conference to speak on the Law Student Summit panel, which is an opportunity for law students from across the country to get together and talk about how law students can get involved in animal law and using the legal system to protect animals. And I did that last year as well, and I think I've been invited to do that because I'm a pretty recent graduate myself, and I came to the conference when I was a law student for a couple of years, and so I I guess, have a closer idea of what law students want to get out of the conference and some of the more practical advice that some of them are seeking, and so I like to try to address those when I talk to them.
And so do you feel, from a law student perspective, that the conference is of great value?
Absolutely. I mean, the conference was for me my entry into the fairly close-knit community of people who are in animal law. It's not a gigantic field the way other issues are, and so coming to the conference and getting to meet people from ALDF and students at universities across the country was really important. And at the law school I went to, there were only a couple of people who were interested in it, and being at the conference and finding myself part of that community was incredibly valuable. And the people that I met the first year I came to the conference are people I'm still in touch with. We were law students at the same time, and now we're first and second year and third year attorneys at the same time, and it's really neat to see sort of this small group of people grow, and I think the conference was pretty instrumental in getting me access to some of the people in animal law.
And as a profession, do you find the field is growing? Are there, for people who are interested in pursuing that field?
It's definitely growing. I think the interest in the field is growing a lot faster than the capacity of the field to create paying jobs for people who want to do it. So I think at some point we're going to have to figure out how to negotiate that. I mean, there's very few jobs in animal law and a lot of people who want to do it. So we try to, at ALDF, incorporate people who are working at firms, have them do pro bono projects for us, or have students get involved in some issues that are not strictly or exclusively animal-based, and find ways that they can use the jobs they already have or the jobs that they're going to get to help animals, even if it's not a quote-unquote animal law job.
Well, so the conference theme is trying to, I guess, make apparent the links between animal law and other fields. And so is that something that resonates with you? Do you value that?
Absolutely. I think that the animal law movement is in a lot of ways an outgrowth of social movements that have been active for centuries. And I think there's a lot of opportunities to get involved in animal law in ways that aren't strictly animal law jobs. I mean, there's a lot of labor issues at slaughterhouses. There are environmental issues, environmental justice issues in terms of where factory farms are being sited, typically in poor and low-income communities of color, and issues of the link between domestic violence and animal law has been definitely demonstrated. And so I think that expanding the scope of what counts as animal law, I think, is incredibly important, so it doesn't get seen as just a quirky niche. I mean, it is part of a broader social movement for justice, and I think that the more we recognize that, the better off we'll be.
And so when you talk about that broader perspective, why do you think, if you could just pull somebody off the street and tell them about why they should care about this area, what do you think you'd tell them?
It's a difficult question. I mean, I think a lot of people would be surprised to see how regressive the legal system is in terms of how we treat animals. I think somewhere near a third to a half of all Americans have companion animals who they regard as family members or close friends. And I think those people would be surprised to learn that those animals are property in the eyes of the law. And on some issues, I think the public is far ahead of the legal system, and the legal system is trying to keep pace with pretty rapid developments in how we see our connections to animals. So if I were talking to somebody, I don't know that I would focus to begin with on legal issues. I might sort of raise issues that I think resonate with a lot of people. Most people are averse to animal suffering, and if you can relate that animals suffer immensely when they're raised for food, that there are 10 billion animals who are killed for food every year in the United States, and most of them live in hellish conditions, and show them how easy it is to adopt a lifestyle that avoids complicity with that suffering. I think a lot of people get that, and it's been, a few decades of the animal rights movement learning how to talk with people instead of at them, and develop that rapport and trust. But I think we're getting there.
Mm. And so last question, are there any speakers or panels in particular that you're interested in hearing? Or
there are, yeah. I'm really excited for a couple of panels on Sunday. The first is I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's on indigenous voices and how what they might have to add to animal law issues. And the other is also about the link between social justice and animal issues. It's Manisha Dekha and a man from the HSUS, and I'm not sure his name, but that sounds like a really interesting panel. I'm looking forward to seeing their take on questions that I think a lot of us are thinking about and need to continue